Hey guys! So my name's Lindy. I'm an American that's been living in France for over 7 years now. And the other day I was looking through some of my past trips and I realized I've never done a video specifically on my trip to Australia. So for today's little story time, I'm going to show you some cool things to do and see, specifically if you're going to Sydney or the Melbourne area in Australia. So I visited with my family and we did some touristy things, but we also tried the local food and learned about Australia's history as well. All right, let's go. So our first stop is Sydney, and we went to the beautiful botanical gardens. It has this crazy good variety of Australian plant life and even some local wildlife. You can see a variety of birds, small creatures, and even a koala. Okay, maybe the last one's not a real koala, but this green shrubbery is just really adorable. If you continue walking through the botanical gardens, you'll get to Mrs. Macquarie's chair, which is our next stop. So Mrs. Macquarie's chair is definitely a touristy spot, but it is worth the hype. You can enjoy the walk by the water to get to this beautiful viewpoint, or you can even stop for a beer at Busby's Bar on the way. Another great spot is called Bangaroo Reserve. This area is perfect for a little picnic or just a moment of rest to enjoy the view. There's also a plethora of really cool plants, especially this one. We thought it looked like corn on the cob. Pretty cool. Another fun little stop we took was going to Luna Park. So definitely a little trip of nostalgia. This adorable theme park takes you back to those simple times of like carnival rides, summer nights, and then an added perk, it is right by the water. So pretty fun. Next stop is Chinatown. So this is definitely a must if you enjoy any type of Chinese food. We were really craving dumplings and pot stickers, so we came to the right place. And I definitely recommend stopping at Emperor's to get the custard-filled puffs. They're just so soft and delicious. Like I can't recommend them enough. And they're only 30 cents each, and you can watch them make them right in front of you. For a little day trip, we took a short ferry ride to Manly Beach. This adorable town offers a beautiful harbor view and some gorgeous beaches. We ended up taking a bike tour around the area to explore its history. We learned about its rougher past and abandoned areas, but then also got to see some adorable cafes, and it was just like a really chill afternoon on the beach as well. So I definitely recommend this spot for a little day trip. I'll also mention two other things that are nice. One's very touristy, the Opera House. You can just see it from afar, or you can actually go and visit it. There's also boat rides you can take, so some options. Next stop on the trip, we are headed over to Melbourne. And I have to admit, I was more impressed with the activities outside of Melbourne rather than actually in the city itself, but that's just my personal opinion. The food scene was really great here though, and also you can take lots of great little day trips from Melbourne as well. So we'll start with the foodie scene. So I recommend going to Degraves Street. It has lots of awesome restaurants. You really can't go wrong. There are lots of choices for cuisine. They have many donut shops as well. There's the famous Melbourne jelly-filled donut. And then you can also check out the American Donut Kitchen over in Queen Victoria Market. Those are very popular in this area. To go along with the foodie scene, we ended up taking a food tour, and I definitely recommend that one as well. We toured the Queen Victoria Market. We got to try some exotic foods as well. It was not only a great way to get a look at fresh local produce, but they also offer a variety of cultures and cuisine inside, very representative of Australia as well. Some of my favorites were these, the bonjour, it's a fruit, and they had an assortment of jerky from the South African shop as well. It was just very, very good. So from Melbourne, these are some of my favorite things. We actually took some out of the city trips. We did the Great Ocean Road tour, and that was one of the highlights for sure. You get these beautiful coastlines with a variety of not only beaches, but this like California style redwood forest. And we even lucked out and saw a mob of kangaroos in the wild. They were relaxing in a field. And then there was also a koala perched up in a tree, so that was really cool to see. Another highlight was again outside of the city and involved animals, which I love. We did the Kangaroo Jack tours. It's only an hour train ride outside of Melbourne, and shout out to David, he was awesome. He was like the best tour guide ever. But with our super small group, we started at the Narana Aboriginal Cultural Center, where we were able to feed and pet a kangaroo, a wallaby, which was so cute. Plus, we got to learn how to throw a boomerang. Very Australia, you know. How much more Australian can you get?
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Oh, it's gonna hit the teacher. Oh, have a look at that. How good's that? That was brilliant. So good. A+ students, everyone. Well done. This product placement, future. Come on. He's less than 150 days old for about like 6 different females. And the ones...
Next, we headed to a koala and wildlife sanctuary, and this is where we got to see other Australian native animals. We got to pet some lizards and snakes, and then my favorite, a koala and a wombat. I love seeing such beautiful creatures being looked after by a staff that really cared. And it was just such a wonderful experience that I really recommend. And also a little PSA, it is illegal to cuddle with a koala in Australia, but you can pet one. It's because if they catch a disease or even a cold, they can't smell. So they won't be able to smell the eucalyptus leaves, which make up most of their diet. So these leaves contain water, and without them, they can dehydrate, and they really don't drink water on its own unless it's in extreme heat waves. So that's why it's illegal to try to cuddle with a koala. Before we leave Australia, I did want to show you just a couple of fun tidbits from the trip. This was Australian money that we used. Also, I wanted to talk about tams and Vegemite. So for all non-Australians, while there you have to try tams. If you haven't had them, they're Australia's typical like supermarket cookie. Kind of like in the US where we have Chips Ahoy. So they're a chocolatey wafer. You can even get like a raspberry filled one. Those are really, really good. And then there's even like YouTube videos to show how to really eat them like a true Australian. You like rip them apart, all that. So I'll link that below. And then Vegemite, I won't explain that one too much because it is pretty well known worldwide, but that's also a common food from Australia. A lot of times they'll put it on bread or something in the morning for breakfast. So to wrap up our trip, some of my favorite parts, Sydney and Melbourne, they're very cool cities. However, I preferred more of the excursions outside of the city. I feel like you could see more of the true Australia, but also just because I love nature and animals that I preferred the calmer areas versus the cities. Getting to see wildlife, especially that doesn't exist in other parts of the world, I think that was really the coolest part for me. So let me know if you visited or if you have any questions. Leave those in the comments below. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. À la prochaine. Gros bisous. Salut!